Hey everybody, this is the beginning of the secret army of General Knoxx, much like the, the zombie island of Dr. Ned in the main game. It is also scaled to level 69, and I'm going to be going through some of well, all of the main story quests and some side quests. A couple of them kind of, one of the things that kind of always bugged me about the general fan reaction of the Borderlands 2 DLC was that, oh, it's not as big as Knoxx, it's not as big as Knoxx. Knoxx wasn't that big. It was only big because you had to drive everywhere. I mean, if you think back, how much time did you spend driving? If you took all the driving out of it, Knoxx probably isn't any bigger than
Atlas is here
maybe
for two things: power and revenge.
Scarlet.
And the order they do it in is irrelevant.
Maybe.
We share
But
a
I would
common enemy,
venture
you and I.
bet that
The reward
maybe
for your death is second
Tiny
only
Tina
to
might
mine.
be,
That alone should be reason for you
that
to join
DLC
my
might be
cause.
bigger than
But
Knoxx if
it
you
is
subtract
not,
all the
and
driving
your
out of the
greed
equation.
precedes you, then you will gain access to all of their weapons. Their invasion stockpile will be yours.
But being introduced to Athena here in our little cutscene. Now there is some
But I'm afraid for my own security.
weirdness
And
using
therefore you
the
must jump through a hoop or
quest
two.
reset method to
Talk to the mechanic. He knows where to
reset
find
all
me.
the quests
And a word of
and
caution,
scale it
don't
to your
touch him
current
if you ever
level.
want to eat with your hands again.
That being that she's talking to you over the Echo Net, and you'll see here in a little bit at some point she's actually in Scooter's garage too, which is just a weird little thing. But I wish Gearbox would patch a playthrough reset into this deal or into this game. I'd imagine it can't be that hard, maybe? I don't know. I could be wrong, but it'd still be kind of cool if they did it. On a related note, too, there's a lot of talk of a next-gen, or fans are talking about how they want a next-gen version of Borderlands 2, which, that's cool. I took like a little bit of a mini vacation, and I was out and about at some stores and stuff while I was out, and I almost, like, where I live, there's no PS4s anywhere. I mean, every store you go into, they're not here. There's plenty of Xbox Ones. And while I was out, where I was at, I happened upon, there was a GameStop that had some PS4s, and generally, for the most part, I try not to buy anything from GameStop. And I thought long and hard about it. I almost bought one, and then I was looking, and it's like, there's nothing I want to play. I have Battlefield 4 for my PC. I got Assassin's Creed 4 for my PC. I got can't really think. The only thing that's out currently that I would play on it is I'd probably give Killzone Shadowfall a chance. There's nothing really coming out until Infamous that I really want to play on the PlayStation 4, so for the time being, it really serves no purpose for me to buy one. And the Xbox One, hey, we got a Brutal Equalizer. Legendaries, I'll get to that in a minute. Let me finish this thought. But also on the same token, like the Xbox One, looking at it, there is nothing I want. I am not a huge fan of... I couldn't get it. I tried to get into Dead Rising, and I couldn't get into the first two, so I'm sure the fourth one, or the third one, probably isn't gonna... that's not a console seller for me. Unless they come out with a mind-blowingly awesome Fable 4, or Halo 5 is obscenely awesome, and see where the Gears franchise goes. I don't know if I'll ever feel the need to purchase one, especially not at $500, considering that they don't have shit for it right now. But that's just me. However, when I did get home, I didn't have any food, so I had to go out and go grocery shopping. And while I was out, I stopped at Walmart, and they had a Wii U bundle, where you got the Wii U, Super Mario Brothers U and Super Luigi U for $2.99. And I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I bought it. I got that. I got Super Mario 3D World and The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker HD. Now, a lot of people shit on the Wii, but truth be told, it's fun. I don't care if it's truly next gen. The games for it are fun. I'm having fun with it. There's games coming out in the future I want for it. There will be Bayonetta 2. I was a huge fan of the first one. Obviously, there will be another Zelda. I've always been a Zelda fan. That was one of the first Nintendo games I ever played back in the 80s when I was a little kid. Obviously, there will be more Mario games. And eventually, maybe they'll put out a pretty awesome Metroid game that'll make everybody forget about the abomination that was Other M. And even Donkey Kong Country games. I haven't played them yet, but I was a big fan of Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. So we'll see how that turns out. I mean, out of console exclusives, it had the exclusives. It had the most on the market right now and the most coming out. Whereas, like I said, the PlayStation's got Uncharted and Infamous, sort of Killzone, and the Xbox One has Halo, Gears, maybe Fable if it's really good, and to a lesser extent Killer Instinct. I'm still pretty upset about that, but yeah, we'll see. Now, moving on to what I was going to say a minute ago about the legendary in the chest. That's another thing that people seem to want to bring up all the time, is the drop rates in Borderlands 2. They suck. I will say that and I stand behind that comment. Drop rates in Borderlands 2 suck. Granted, you can farm a boss for a specific item that you want instead of just hoping and praying that one drops for you like in this game. But for the most part, they suck. Anybody that watched The Hunt, either The Hunt 1 or The Hunt 2, you know, the drop rates blow dick. You know, and I'm not saying they have to be as good as they are in this game. Like, when Ultimate Vault Hunter mode came out, one of the things they touted was the drop rates. You'd have better drop rates because of the increased difficulty and blah, 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 blah. It's not that good. To me, it doesn't seem any better than it was in True Vault Hunter mode. But on the flip side of that, I don't think the drop rates need to be as generous as they were in this game. Yes, you got a lot of legendaries, but also you got a lot of shit legendaries. Plus you had your like yellowish, orange, and dark orange variations of your legendaries. So you might have got a legendary drop let's say you got a legendary drop once an hour. It doesn't mean it was a good legendary drop, you know. I mean, there was especially like a lot of people were very specific with barrels and all that in this game. Sniper rifles, I think it was barrel 5, whatever makes it look like a 50 cal. It's either 4 or 5. You know, people wanted that barrel and certain magazines and yada 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 yada. And I mean, you have that to an extent in Borderlands 2. You got the grip and the stock and all that, but there was a lot higher chance that you were going to get a shit legendary, especially like, you know, in the Cromarax Loot Explosion. Mostly you had defilers, equalizers, and some other form of TD or gun that dropped you. I do remember the first legendary I ever got in this game was a combustion hellfire at like level 32 or something. It was low, but it carried me through. No, it wasn't 32. It was probably like 28 or something because I got it at the tail end of my first playthrough when I was cleaning up side quests, and I think it actually carried me through all the way to level 50. You know. So that's one thing about this game is that your gear lasted longer than like one level. And not to beat a dead horse, but especially when the overpowered levels came out, you had to farm constantly for better shit in Borderlands 2. And I think a lot of people, and I made this mistake, you know, you assumed what it would be like the first game. And man, when I went into true Vault Hunter mode in the second game, I was like, I got my ass handed to me, you know? Jumped too far right there. And this game is, both games are fun, don't get me wrong, but they're fun in their own way. And this one, primarily my gear, I think, is level 68. So it's a level below me, but I'm still wrecking shit. Whereas if I was playing Borderlands 2 at level 72 using level 71 guns, gonna have a bad time, you know? And I don't understand, hopefully the extra time that they're taking before they get started on Borderlands 3, I hope they, maybe it'll occur to them what was fun about Borderlands and what fans enjoyed about the first game and what fans were expecting out of the second game, instead of just making it bigger and better and badder and all that. But we'll see. Is Borderlands 2 a bad game? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. I played it for well over a year. But I think they lost sight of what made it fun. I mean, you're not going to one-shot anything like that in the second game in Borderlands 2 at end game, but that's just, it is what it is. I really wish they would bring back the revolvers, and like when they make the third game, make the revolvers feel distinctly like revolvers. The revolvers in this game are so much better than the pistols in 2. Now, I do like the sniper rifles in 2 better, and the SMGs in the second game are better, I think. But there's just something about the revolvers and the assault rifles in this first game that just feel awesome. Shotguns kind of left a little to be desired in this game, but if they could take, excuse me, if they take the shotguns, the sniper rifles, and the SMGs from the second game, and the machine pistols, and the revolvers, and the assault rifles from the first game, then they'll have a good, the guns will have a really good feel to them. I didn't really like the assault rifles. It had nothing to do with the damage output, I just didn't like the feel of them in the second game. A lot of them were too gimmicky, you know. Like the Varuk probably could have been a really good assault rifle, but it had the bullet thing going on there with the 3 bullets, and I don't know. Maybe if I give it a shot again, I'll change my mind, but I wasn't a big fan of the Varuk. The Hammer Buster I never really used. Actually, really, the only assault rifle in the second game I used was the Kerblaster on Axton and the Ogre. But that was about it. So, well, I take that back. I used the Hail on Gage, so there is that. So I guess not all the assault rifles in the second game are bad, but most of them I find to be fairly useless. having a debate with somebody. Well, not really a debate. I just finished. I know I'm a little late to the party. I just finished the second season of American Horror Story, and yeah, I really enjoyed the first season a lot. And the second season, it started off really strong, and I was like, all right, I'm down with this. I wasn't too crazy about the alien thing. I could have did without that, but it just kind of ended kind of meh. Like, the first half of the season was so strong, and then it just kind of, instead of going out on a bang, I kind of felt like it went out on a whimper. Again, that's just my opinion. It just didn't really floor me like I thought it would, given how strong the season started. But that's neither here nor there. I am very excited, though, to see that at the time of recording this, the second season of Hannibal starts next week, which I am very much looking forward to. I enjoyed the first season of Hannibal. I read Thomas Harris's novel. Well, I read Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, and Hannibal. I didn't read Hannibal Rising. And I thought it was a nice little twist on some of the lore from the books. It was different enough from the movies that it was good. And it was different enough from the movies that it wasn't stale. And they used enough from the books to, like, they fleshed out bits and pieces of the book that were just kind of mentioned. And the way the first season ended, I'm very interested to see where they're going to go in the second season. And also, I think Mads Mikkelsen is excellent as Hannibal Lecter. The show is very well cast, I think. Lawrence Fishburne is Crawford. He does Lawrence Fishburne's good in everything he's in, I think. I'm a big fan of his. Hugh Dancy, really the only thing I ever seen him in other than this, playing Will Graham, was King Arthur. I seen him in that. That was really the only thing that comes to my mind that I saw him in. And some of the other people, the woman that plays Lana Bloom was in.
Hey, Scooter here. Just a heads up.
Shit, she was in something I saw.
Just get your murder on, and we'll pretend nobody saw nothing.
Oh, that's gonna bug me because I seen her in something else. Because I don't know what anybody else's opinion is of her, but I think she's pretty yummy. But fuck was she in? Oh, she was in Devil. That's right. Yep, she was in Devil. Not real proud to admit that I seen that. That was one of those things. It was on Netflix. I gave it a shot. But then you had some very strong supporting actors. You had Eddie Izzard in a couple of episodes, and Eddie Izzard's just fucking fantastic in everything he's in. Casey Roll is Abigail Hobbs. The always awesome Gillian Anderson, which was great because I was a huge X-Files fan. Ellen Muth was in a couple of episodes. I don't know if anybody remembers Dead Like Me. She was in that very underrated show that shouldn't have had the demise that it did. There was an episode with Lance Henriksen, who I think, I'll give Lance Henriksen credit. I mean, obviously Hannibal was one of the better things he's been in lately that I've seen him in, but he never seems to phone it in. He can be in the dumbest fucking movie or TV show or whatever, but he seems like he always gives it his all. I don't understand what appealed to him to do that Hellraiser movie he was in, but like I said, it doesn't seem like he phones it in, which is a plus. The girl from My Girl, All Grown Up, she was in it as they kind of gave Miriam Lass, was the character she played. They kind of gave her, like, her whole subplot was kind of like how Will Graham found out about Lecter in the book, but yeah, I'm not sure what they were doing there, but still, it was a nice little touch. Kind of show Crawford doesn't always make the best decisions. And I'm forgetting some. Gina Torres played Jack Crawford's wife, which was, I think they're married. I think her and Lawrence Fishburne are married in real life. But if you recall, she was in a show that I was a big fan of later on. I didn't catch it when it was originally on TV, and I catch shit from that from some of my friends. But she was Zoe in Serenity and Firefly. Which I'm sorry I got into Firefly later than everybody else, but at the time, I think when that show originally aired, I did not have cable because I was cheap and living. Actually, I still don't have cable, but I went through a phase there in the early 2000s where I didn't watch a whole lot of TV, so I wasn't aware of Firefly or some of the other shows that were on. Actually, I kind of fell out of the X-Files towards the end there. I was a huge X-Files fan, but started getting weird once David Duchovny took off and they brought Robert Patrick in and stuff like that. It was just kind of like, you know. But I see it's on X-Files now, or it's on Netflix now, so I might try to give some of those later seasons another try and see where it goes. You know, and when I was in the X-Files, you know, talking about the X-Files, when I was a kid, that was a huge part of my Friday nights. It was the Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. and the X-Files. That was my Friday night, you know, before I eventually got old enough to go out and have a life and do stupid stuff that kids do, but, well, teenagers do, I guess. A lot of really good shows when I was that didn't get a lot of legs. The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. got canceled prematurely. There was another show I watched when I was younger called American Gothic with the one guy was in the Dawn of the Dead remake. Gary Cole was in American Gothic. He played kind of like, if I remember correctly, he kind of played like this Satan type of guy, but where he kind of gave the impression that he might have been the devil, but he was pretty evil. And then Simon Webb, Jake Weber. He was the guy that was in the Dawn of the Dead remake. He played playing the Dawn of the Dead remake. Whatever. Whoever he played, he ran around with Sarah Polley a lot in the Dawn of the Dead remake, and then he got bit at the end there before they were escaping in the buses. But he was on American Gothic, and that show didn't last as long as it could have. And it was I thought it was a good show. I still think it's a good show. But I see, it's good to see now, like, I mean, as I stated, I kind of fell out of watching network TV for a while there, but then I got into, you know, once I discovered Netflix and Hulu and all that, I started getting into, I finally got into Breaking Bad, which was a phenomenal show. I mean, you know, I'd heard the hype, and by the time I got interested in watching it, it had been out, I think it was close to ending, and I was afraid that, you know, as much hype as I heard from it, it wasn't going to live up to it. But that show, I mean, that's another one. First of all, it was cast perfectly. The story, you know, the writers did a fantastic job, and Bryan Cranston, I think, should get a Lifetime Achievement Award for his portrayal of Walter White. I mean, he was just fucking awesome. What else did I get into? I started watching Hannibal. Actually, Hannibal was one of the few shows I watched, like, the nights it was actually on instead of trying to catch up on Hulu or whatever else. Bones. I got into Bones for a while there. House was a show I followed for its entire run. I like The New Girl, which probably sounds strange coming from me. That might be about it. There's a Robin Williams show with him and Sarah Michelle Gellar, The Crazy Ones, I think it's called. It's not bad. The couple episodes I did see, I thought were pretty funny. And I don't know, that's about it. Family Guy kind of got stale to me after a while, as did The Simpsons. So I kind of quit watching the animated Sunday night block on Fox. One thing I will probably forever cherish when I was a kid, I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember the Nicktoons I used to watch. Man, I'd get up, I'd watch Doug, Rocko's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy. Those were great cartoons, probably
This is General Knoxx.
kind of fucked up now, because they're funny in one way when you're a kid, and then they're funny a different way when you grow up. But
I sent steel to this planet.
you know, kids might like a lot of kids these days. They're not gonna have cartoons like that.
Talks all the time. And hello, have you met our friend the sun?
Which is funny because it kind of goes back to something I always thought. Like it's weird how like the stuff we grew up with as kids. Like now we look at it and we're like, oh, our kids can't watch that stuff. Why not? I mean, there's some kind of want and desire for it. You know, they're rebooting the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Well, they rebooted the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on Nickelodeon. You know, my son and I watched that. Then they got that Michael Bay movie, which I'm gonna reserve judgment for when I see it. The Transformers came back. There was an computer animated Transformers. I can't remember. Was it Prime? I think it was called. Then you know, you had the Michael Bay movies for that. Was it like 2002, 2003? There was a He-Man reboot.
Don't act all surprised. I told you I was gonna do it.
Can't remember what else. Not entirely sure. I know the only reason I remember the He-Man reboot is because a friend of mine was huge into He-Man. What I'd like to see, and I know it'll never happen, but I want to see them reboot Jurassic Park. Fuck this Jurassic World and all this other shit. Reboot Jurassic Park, make it rated R, and follow the book. You know, don't have Steven Spielberg involved in any way, shape, or form. Not that I have anything against Steven Spielberg, but don't make it a family movie that's slight thriller with dinosaurs chasing people around. Fucking give it a hard R and make it follow the Michael Crichton book. I mean, granted, you have to change some stuff because Crichton can get a little sciencey. I'm sure people don't want to sit through some of that, but for the most part, I mean, you know, Muldoon, granted he was an alcoholic, but he was such a badass in the book, you know. I mean, he was blowing off raptor legs with a rocket launcher, for fuck's sake. And then the movie gets tricked by the dumbest fucking... Like, he even's supposed to be this big raptor expert, and then he gets tricked and killed by the raptors. It's like, what the fuck? Well, I don't want to say he was a raptor expert, but he was the most experienced one because he knew how dangerous they were, and to be tricked and killed by them. I mean, the only reason they did that was to set up the plot device that they were scary and dangerous and smart and blah blah blah. But there's, and as a, you know, I mean, I was young when Jurassic Park came out. It came out, I think, what, 93, 94? So I would have been 11 or 12. But you know, the book, there was so much in that book. And then The Lost World, that movie had very little to do with the book. I mean, granted, they even say, though, like, you know, Crichton went off and wrote his novel, and Spielberg, and I think it was David Koch, went off and wrote their screenplay. And I mean, other than, I think, the trailer scene where Rex's attack the trailer, there's not really any similarities there. Because I read the book, and then when I seen the movie, I was very surprised at the choices they made, and the casting decisions were a little strange to me. Because when you read the book, you don't immediately think of Julianne Moore as Sarah Harding. Not that I have anything against Julianne Moore, but Sarah Harding's characterization in the novel is not what ends up in the book, or in the movie, I mean. But it's neither here nor there. It's a product of its times, but I think if they give some serious thought into rebooting it, they need to seriously consider making it an R-rated film and having it follow the novels more closely and more faithfully. But I mean, who knows? It could happen. There's this big thing with Hollywood reboots lately, but you know, they don't have any teeth, as the RoboCop reboot proves. You know, they reboot RoboCop, and it goes from the hard, gory R-rated movie I remember seeing to, I think it's PG-13. I think the only movie that got rebooted that went the opposite way was when they redid that Judge Dredd with Carl Urban.
Shank busted in and took Miss Athena for a little ride.
Until they quit making money on Jurassic Park, they're probably not going to reboot it, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with this Jurassic World that's coming out.
Mr. Shank is
And I do have a passing interest in this RoboCop remake is the first remake of the old science fiction movies, or the 80s era science fiction movies I have a passing interest in seeing. I wasn't too keen on wasting time to see Total Recall or anything like that, so I have no opinion on some of those movies, but I'm kind of curious to see what the RoboCop remake's like, and mainly because it has a lot of actors in it that I like: Michael Keaton, Sam Jackson, Gary Oldman, you know, and Jackie Earle Haley's in it, and you know, those are all actors that I like. So I kind of want to see, you know, if they're in it, it can't be too bad, I wouldn't think, but we'll see. But that'll be a cheap rent or something. That's not going to be a purchase or run out to the theater and see. Good.
Hey, be careful though. Compared to the monster, that thing might as well be a box of gravy with wheels.
I think, too, getting away from discussion of the of movies and remakes and such, I think I'm gonna toss around the idea of maybe getting a capture card, because I'd like to. There's some console games I wouldn't mind making videos for, and you know, when Infamous and all that comes out, I mean, that'd be something I'd be interested in doing, but I'm not sure. I'd like to do probably maybe some of the Wii U games, but I know I'd have to do some research. I'm not 100% sure on the details, but I know there's some controversy over. I guess Nintendo's got maybe a little bit of an iron fist when it comes to YouTube and Nintendo games, but like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done all the research yet. So we'll see. Seems like, too, though, I don't know, outside of Borderlands, really my only other video game related videos are Gone Home and Dear Esther, and they I know there's a small crowd for those games, so they're not those videos aren't doing quite as well as my Borderlands videos, but you know, it's not, to me, like I said before in other videos, it's not about views. I just do, you know, I like sharing what I enjoy, and hopefully other people will enjoy it too. My Tomb Raider videos haven't exactly been a hit, nor has my Oh, that's really well, my Mass Effect videos. But, you know, those are old games, too. I understand that. So, Tuesday, Lords of Shadow 2 comes out. So, we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, I'm putting some thought into maybe doing something with console games. But, we'll see. Depends whether or not I feel like getting the capture card or not. I might find something else to spend money on, who knows. Any ideas, as I've said before, you know, are welcome. You know, just leave a comment with an idea, and if it's something I can do, I'll do it. You know, I'm still pretty new at this, so I'm still learning the ropes and getting acclimated to everything and whatnot, so... You know, I don't want to just be known for, like, if I would get more subscribers and things, I don't want to be known just for Borderlands videos, because, I mean, that's going to run out of steam sooner or later for myself and other people. As I've said, I don't really have a schedule for like, what games I play and what games I make videos for. It's just whatever games I happen to be having fun with at the time, and I'm having fun with Borderlands and for the time being, but, eventually I'll probably burn out on it. We'll see.
See you again soon.
Or driving. And the bitch of this is that if you use the racer, or not the racer, whatever this one is, it's fast, but it's got no armor. But then if you use the monster, it's got armor, and you got the long boost, but it's not doesn't have the overall speed that the other that this one does.
Now, the man's control of the highway is shutting me down in a hurry. That's where you and your chica come in.
Definitely gonna finish up this DLC and probably do the Revolution DLC. Don't know how many side quests in that one I'll do, because they're kind of, that area is huge and you get no vehicle. And then periodically I might do story missions here and there, just to see. Like I said, it all depends on whether or not I'm still having fun playing the game or not. Mass Effect I'm kind of doing pretty casually, so anybody that's actually watching those videos, those will probably be whenever I feel like uploading them, or I'll just save them for a day where I don't have much of anything to upload. I'm trying to upload a video a day, at least, whether it be a game play video or a video for one of my songs or whatever. But just like I said, I'm just trying to expand and put some feelers out there to see what's working and what's not working. And the music's mostly just to get it out there, and I am kind of like using my channel to correspond with a couple people on the music stuff, so I mean that's kind of my way of getting it out there. It's a little bit easier than emailing files back and forth and whatnot, so I just make a quick vid with the music to it and then throw it up. But we'll see. Like I said, definitely Tuesday, Castlevania start, and then whether or not I get this capture card, we'll see. As far as, I don't know what PC games are really coming out other than Castlevania that I'm really looking forward to. I'm kind of kicking around Thief, but I'm not sure. I never really played the other ones. I might do Titanfall whenever that comes out. I'm not 100% sure there if I'm going to get the game. I might end up getting a capture card though, because if I do end up buying a PS4, I would like to do Destiny videos, but you know, that's not till September. So hopefully maybe Bungie will change their mind and port it to PC, but I'm not going to hold my breath on that. So we'll see. It all depends. This shotgun here is something I'm very sad that did not end up in Borderlands 2. Is a dedicated caustic shotgun. You know, you had the Heartbreaker as your dedicated fire shotgun, or the Blockhead, but you didn't have anything that only came in caustic, and I think that would have been kind of neat to have a little bit more dedicated element guns, like they tried with the Infection. It's like a piss poor version of the Defiler. I don't like it. Some people found it useful, but I'm not a huge fan of it. You didn't have anything like the Serpents or the Ogre or the Draco. It's just like they made general purpose weapons that could come in any element, and outside of your Hellfire or some of your Maliwan legendaries, you didn't have like a dedicated element for specific legendaries, and even some of those legendaries left to be little to be desired, like the volcanoes sucked ass. I mean, it could be outperformed by a Snyder. The Hellfire, I like the Hellfire, but like I said, you just didn't have these dedicated guns like you did in this one. You know, I mean, how cool would it have been to have a Defiler in Borderlands 2? Like an actual, like it functioned the same way, Pestilent Defiler, or the Maliwan shotgun was supposed to be called the Plague, but through coding and whatnot, it accidentally got changed to a Crux like the S&S gun. But that would have been cool. I mean, granted, you have elemental shotguns, you know, you can get an elemental conference call or interface or whatever, but you didn't have anything that just kind of had that cool factor like the Maliwan Crux did. Especially like the tubes for the elemental capacitors and stuff like that. That was just cool as fuck looking, but you know, it is what it is. But we do also, and I will probably, now that I think about it, I don't know when it's coming out, but I will probably definitely do videos of Tales from the Borderlands. I'm kind of accustomed to what, I haven't played a huge amount of Telltale games, but I'm kind of accustomed to what that'll probably be like. It'll probably just be like any other Telltale game, just, you know, with Borderlands aesthetics to it. But I'm curious, you know, to what it's going to be like. I probably would have did Assassin's Creed 4 videos, but I don't know why. Well, I'm not the only one, but it would appear that I'm not the only one that's having some performance issues with Black Flag. So that kind of deterred me a little bit from doing videos on it, just because I wanted to be a bitch. Same thing with Resident Evil 6. I probably would have did videos for Resident Evil 6, but it likes to crash on me more often than I would care to have it. I might end up downloading Octodad, because That just looks fun and stupid. See, dipping through the Steam catalog right now, and I see that Prince of Persia, the 2009 game, or 2008 game, is on sale. I like that game. I know a lot of people had some issues with it, and I understand their complaints, but you know, for what it was, I enjoyed it. I'd really like to see a sequel because how it ended. But that was a good game. I thought it was a good game, you know. But again, like I said, that's just me. But for what it was at the time. I'm thinking about trying out The Wolf Among Us too. It seems interesting. I'm curious about the subject matter, and again, like the couple Telltale games I've played, I've liked. But we'll see. I'm open to suggestions as to what I could, what to try out. You know, old or new. You know, I'm pretty much a fan of all genres of games, and doesn't matter if it came out 10 years ago or 10 minutes ago. I'll play it if it looks cool. You know, most of my Steam library is not brand new games. I mean, you know, all the Assassin's Creed games, Darksiders 1 and 2, Enslaved, Mirror's Edge, Portal. But, you know, like I said, you know, I'm open to suggestions. But, yeah, you know, this video is kind of hitting the 50-minute mark, so we're going to cut it off here. The next one will pick up right where we leave off in this one. So, you know, I'd like to thank everybody that watches, and see you in the next one. All right. Bye, guys.